The big question is, will the third wave be as severe as the second or first? And the major reason to think not is some level of herd protection.
Is South Africa on the brink of a third wave of COVID-19 infections? And is the country ready for this potential surge? Joining me to discuss is Gabriel Crouse, who's an analyst and a journalist with the Institute of Race Relations. Gabriel, welcome. Could you tell us what is the data telling us at the moment in terms of COVID infections?
So if we look at case numbers, if we look at positivity rates, and if we look at hospitalization numbers, there is some suggestion that we have begun the surge into the third wave. Problems with those data abound. They have been and continue to be noisy, so it's hard to pick out sound from that. I think for seasonal reasons, winter is coming. This is the time that one would expect a third wave. So I think the timing is right. The question is the extent, and we can break that down into the quality of the third wave and the quantity. Qualitatively, we should expect the third wave to be less severe than the first two, in part because of improvements in medical treatment, and in part because many of the most vulnerable members of society, both in terms of comorbidity and age, that stand the worst chance of severe illness or dying, have sadly been infected, but happily most have recovered and therefore stand a better chance in the face of the third wave. Quantitatively, the big question is, will the third wave be as severe as the second or first? And the major reason to think not is some level of herd protection. The best estimates, both coming from academics and top corporates, was that about a fifth to a quarter of South Africans were infected by the spring of 2020, and that about half to more than half of South Africans were infected by the end of summer that's just passed. So holding everything else equal, that means basically that you can expect the next wave to be less severe, that people will still be infected, but that many of them are less likely to be severely ill or to die, and in fact that they'll be less contagious.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
Infections on the one hand, but then also hospitalization rates and death rates as well. I think that is the key point to focus on. What are your thoughts on that, Gabriel?
Absolutely. Cases are a great thing to count if you are doing a soundbite on mainstream television. But the thing that really concerns the public and that really ought to concern government is our hospital preparedness and our ability to save lives. And I suppose there's a lot to talk about the epidemiology and virology of SARS-CoV-2 and its variant strains. But all of the evidence points very strongly to the fact that if you have had SARS-CoV-2 and you recover, you are much, much less likely, 99.99% less likely at least, not to die upon reinfection or to become severely ill. So while you might still catch it again and pass it on, you're much less likely, seriously less likely to die. And those numbers, if half the country is sitting in that position, and that's even with variants being taken into account, that's something that we should take to heart as a kind of good news following a kind of very bad news.
Gabriel, where do vaccines fit into this discussion? Because as we all know, South Africa's rollout has been pretty dismal at best. So how does the lack of vaccine penetration affecting the potential for a third wave?
So if there were more vaccines around, we'd definitely be better prepared. One thing to note is that the marginal benefit of vaccinating someone who's already recovered from SARS-CoV-2 is minimal. So in my estimation, you'd only need to vaccinate about 10% of the population, and these estimates are going off, again, the mainstream academics, for us to reach an effective 70% of the population that's got extra immune protection, either from vaccination or from convalescent immunoboosting. Now, our vaccine program is definitely not geared towards vaccinating the immuno-naive. we'll be vaccinating a lot of people that are already protected. We're not prioritizing well, but more obviously, we're not vaccinating very much at all. So at this stage, the best defense that South Africans have on a natural and biological level is the level of herd protection, which is not a binary, but which is a scale, which they already have from so many people in the population having been infected. The best protection we have above that is, of course, our voluntary choices, and people know what the right choices are.
Gabriel, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. We'll certainly be watching this very closely indeed. My name is David Ansara. This is the Center for Risk Analysis. If you enjoyed this commentary, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, leave a like and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, take care.